What's up, guys? It's Chris. Just got back from watching UFC 116, Lesnar versus Carwin. Let's get right to the main event. Brock Lesnar is able to survive a massive first-round onslaught by Shane Carwin to win in the second round by arm triangle choke. Fighters come out, throwing punches, not like furious or anything like that, just looking for distance. Brock shot for a takedown. Carwin stuffed it. Carwin ends up clipping Brock and I guess kind of hurting him. I don't know. Carwin went after him. Brock didn't really respond well to the punches. You could tell he's a guy that hasn't been hit a lot yet in his career. Just the way he reacted to the punches. Carwin puts him down on his back and starts beating him up big time from the top position with punches and the occasional elbows. Looked for a minute like the referee was going to step in. I would have been surprised if the ref would have stopped it there because Carwin was unloading a pretty good flurry and you couldn't really tell how hurt Brock was because he was just covering up. Not really, he was intelligently defending himself, but he looked like he was in trouble. And it was just a matter of time until the fight was over. However, Brock was able to stay in it, not get taken out. As the round progressed, even though Carwin was in top position and still dropping down shots, you could see there was less and less power behind each shot. And eventually, Brock was able to get up and get the clinch in the cage, kind of work for a takedown with the round ends. In between rounds, Brock looked to be trying to regain his composure. His cornerman talking him out of it, telling him, Carwin's gassed. You look at Carwin. He looked pretty visibly gassed, fatigued. They come out for the second round, threw a punch each, nothing really landed there. Brock Lesnar shoots for a takedown, gets it, kind of works for position, eventually gets a side mount, or not side mount, but a half mount. Carwin had him in the half guard, but not a full guard. Brock scoots the full mount, transitions beautifully right over to an arm triangle choke, which he already had it set up before he even got the mount. So once he got the mount, he just jumped over to the right side of Carwin, locked it in. Carwin defended it pretty good for initially, but Brock kept turning it, and he had it on. And with that kind of size and strength, eventually, unless he has absolutely horrible technique, you're gonna have to tap out to it. You're gonna go out, and Shane Carwin taps, and Brock Lesnar gets the win. Really impressive win for Brock Lesnar. Showed that he could survive off his back. Showed he could survive adversity, and won by submission. I don't think nobody I know, including myself, thought he was going to win by submission. So good overall performance. It wasn't the best performance because he almost got took out of there in the first round. But once again, he was able to get through the rough moments. Should only help him as a fighter from here on out, knowing that he could survive that and come back and wins the next round. So a good win for Brock Lesnar. Next up for him is Cain Velasquez. Really looking forward to that fight. Although Carwin's a bigger hitter than Cain, I think has much better technique on the feet, standing with the strike. So it'll be interesting to see how Brock can deal with Cain's stand-up ability. Of course, Cain also has to deal with Brock Lesnar's wrestling, which is no easy task, especially with that size and he'll have a much bigger size and strength advantage than he did over Carwin. So that's that. Co-main event of the night: Chris Leben, Yoshihiro Akiyama, or his fans call him Sexy Yama. Good fight, man. Solid back four, typical Chris Leben fight. Kind of reminiscent of Yoshihiro Akiyama's UFC debut against Alan Belcher. Came out looking strong in the first round. Judo throw, working some good positioning on the ground, some good positions, ground control on Leben. The second round, a lot of back and forth. Could have went either way. Leben looked like he had Akiyama hurt, and then Akiyama comes back and completely stuns Leben. Leben was just standing there with his arms down like this. He looked drunk. He looked out of it. He looked like when you play the old Mortal Kombat Street Fighter, when the guy's almost out and they're just kind of swaying there waiting for the final fatality or whatever. He looked like he had that going on, but Akiyama couldn't finish him. Leben was able to. Akiyama at that point was gassed. I'm not surprised Leben was gassed. He just fought 2 weeks ago, even though he won. But Akiyama gassed hard, middle second round. I don't know why he gassed so hard, but he did. Come third round, just turned into a war of attrition. Who could last? Both guys were completely exhausted. But Chris Leben looked to have a little bit more. Akiyama took him down, was on top, but he wasn't doing anything. Chris Leben was doing a lot more from his back than Akiyama was doing from on top. So it would have been interesting to see if that would have went to the scorecards, which way the judges would have scored it. But no need for that. Chris Leben throws on a triangle in under a minute. Akiyama looked like he would have been able to survive, but he fell to his back. His butt actually sat down. Leben just grabbed that foot, pulled it down. Not much time left, but enough for Akiyama not to be able to survive. He taps out. And Chris The Crippler, aka Cat Smasher Lieben, wins by triangle choke. 2 huge wins for Chris Lieben in a 2-3 week period over Aaron Simpson and Yoshihiro Akiyama. Big boost for his career. Lieben said he wants to be on the Ultimate Fighter next season with Vanderlei Silva. I don't know if that'll happen just because of the time frame. But I would like to see him fight Vanderlei Silva next. That'd be a great, just interesting slugfest. As for Akiyama, got to work on that conditioning, man. He's got great technique. Maybe not the best standing, but definitely needs to work on that cardio. Chris Lytle, Matt Brown. It was what we expected it to be. Kind of a sloppy stand-up fight, but real sloppy, man. My friend was like, why is Chris Lytle throwing these haymakers? I don't know. I think he saw that Shashinsky-Bonner fight before him. He was like, I got to get the fight of the night. You know, got to do something exciting. I think once he realized that wasn't going to happen, he's like, hey, I'm going to go for the sub of the night. I got that before. And ends up getting a straight armbar submission on Matt Brown. So good win for Lytle, and probably going to get another bonus. I don't know. Stephan Bonner, Krzysztof Shashinsky. This was probably the fight of the night. I don't know what got fight of the night. I bailed after the Kendall Grove fight. But back and forth fight. So many times where I was like, no, Bonner's out of it. And me and my friend were like, well, I figured if Bonner lost his fight, he was finally going to be out of the UFC. So we were kind of just rooting for him. You know, we're trying to figure out why he's nicknamed the American Psycho, first of all. And we were just going, come on, get Psycho on him. And anyways, Shashinsky looked to be getting the better of it at times. It looked more than a couple occasions in the first and second round that Shashinsky had Bonner on his heels and was going to take him out. But Bonner survived. Back and forth exchanges throughout the entire fight. Just back and forth. I mean, the momentum kept shifting. But eventually, Stephan Bonner clinches and lands a Muay Thai knee on Shashinsky's head. Shashinsky goes halfway down. Bonner jumps on him. Lands numerous unanswered punches. I mean, there had to be at least 50 punches there. And eventually, the ref waves it off, and Stephan Bonner survives, lives to see another day. So he's going to stick around the UFC for another couple fights at least, and give a great after fight speech, victory speech. So good solid scrap. George Soteropoulos, Kurt Pellegrino, not really as exciting of a fight as I expected it to be. Both had their moments, but for the most part, it was George Soteropoulos getting the better of it on the feet, and definitely getting much better of it on the floor, position-wise, and just out grappling Kurt Pellegrino. So George Soteropoulos gets a unanimous decision win. Didn't see Shab Chakshur took off after Romero Petrozelli fight. So I saw Petrozelli Romero. Petrozelli looked good early, but ended up getting on the ground and didn't, Romero got him with just a straight armbar. I don't know. Petrozelli looked to be in a lot of pain, but it was an exciting fight while it lasted. But both guys fatigued heavy in the second round, and unfortunately for Petrozelli, he got it worse. Also, I saw the very end of Gerald Harris, Dave Branch. Dave Branch jumped into guard. Gerald Harris said, bam, slammed him on the ground. Lights out. So impressive. That has to be knockout of the night as far as I'm concerned for Gerald Harris. Anyways, good event overall. Not the biggest thing aside from the main event. Oh, they're showing the highlight right now on ESPN News. Lesnar Carwin. That's always good for UFC/MMA fans. But anyways, so good event overall. Entertaining. Good one for Brock Lesnar. Want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think of the Lesnar Carwin fight? And just what do you think of the event overall? Grade, letter grade. I don't know. Whatever you want to say about it. And what do you think about Lesnar next against Cain Velasquez? That's it for now. Check me out on Twitter if you're interested. As always, the link will be in the information part under the video. Happy early 4th of July to those who celebrate it. And until next time, guys, I'm out.